And over the years, when you go through different works of art or comics or books, you realize that the writers, they're often thinking about something else as they're writing the thing,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But at some point, they give you the clue, right, or the code word that can unlock the thing they're thinking about, right? And there's a certain point where you begin to recognize them because you've seen how many thousand stories in your lifetime,
Hmm.
yeah, and you understand the construction of them. So when something pops out at you that's a little bit weird, you understand that that means something. So that's why I asked George, and that was a key to unlocking not only those movies but the whole thing, because that movie, Ep One, then becomes about symbiosis.
Hmm.
It becomes about Naboo having two forces, one overground, one underwater,
Yeah, Obi-Wan
who are
talks about that.
separate. They need to come together to defeat a common enemy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you
Yeah.
can think of it as, on a microbiotic level as well, as being one part. But also the whole movie sets up the whole of the trilogy
Hmm.
because um, you've got Padme, right, who wants to do it through cooperation. She wants to solve the problem through cooperation. She goes to the Senate, says blah blah blah. The Senate says no, so she realizes that cooperation is she can't do it with the help of the Senate. So she has to find somebody else to help her.
Right.
Yeah, and she realizes that it's right there in front of her. Cooperation with the Gungans, and it's by being humble,
Hmm.
um, by revealing herself, by stepping outside of her disguise, by losing all ego,
Hmm.
right? That she can form an alliance with the Gungans for defeat to defeat the common enemy.
Yeah, yeah, it's very well said.
What what does Anakin do? Anakin, throughout the movie, does everything by himself. He's self-reliant, right? He is there. You see it all, in fact, meticulously detailed in the pod race scene. Every single thing that happens in that pod race has to be solved by Anakin alone, right? So whether it's sabotage or something going wrong, this
Hmm.
thing pops out, you know, he knows how to solve the problem. He solves it, and he does likewise, even though accidentally and with a bit of humour later on, when he destroys the control ship. But ingrained in him is the idea from very early on that he is self-reliant and that he can do it on his own. So the two characters are set up. One, Padme, who does it through cooperation, and Anakin, who does it on his own. Yeah. So George very carefully sets up every scene so that we can see that there is a difference between the two, and he set up the idea of this symbiotic relationship, so that as you follow it through, you see how these things fall apart, yeah, and get used and abused,
Hmm.
uh, leading to the dark side at the end of Act Three.
Yeah,
So, so it's not
that's cool.
It's
nothing
very
is by
cool.
accident in these movies.